So this is a clip of Saudi Sheikh Mohammad Al-Issa and his entourage, and they are at the Auschwitz extermination camp. This is a clip that resurfaced. It was taken just a few years ago, and it is of this very well-established and well-known Saudi sheikh who went there to honor the memory of the victims of the Holocaust. And I want to show you the clip first and then show you some reflections I have, because it's definitely an unusual sight to see. Have a watch. I have to tell you, it is remarkable what we are seeing happening and potentially happening in terms of the relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel and the Jewish people. It's an unexpected turn, given that, Saudi Arabia played a role in the wars against Israel, I believe in 48 and in 73. And now we're seeing some of these leading figures and Saudis pushing, and the government pushing for ever closer ties. And this hasn't even broken, by the way, despite the Israel-Hamas war, which had a real potential to fracture relations. And yes, it has put tensions and has put some pressure under this attempt to create reconciliation, but it hasn't broken it yet. It hasn't broken the potential path towards reconciliation. Just want to read to you a little bit more about Sheikh Mohammed bin Al-Issa, because it's worth knowing a bit more about who this is and how he potentially is a real kind of role model and example of a moderate voice that can come to the fray and try to reconcile themselves with the Jewish people and with Israel. So this is from the Muslim World League, which tells us about His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Al-Issa. He's widely recognized as a leading global voice on moderate Islam, committed to bringing awareness to a message of empathy and understanding, cooperation among all people. As Secretary General of the Muslim World League, Makkah-based non-governmental organization that represents adherents of the Islamic faith, Dr. Al-Issa has been a trailblazer in building new partnerships among different countries, faiths, and nations. He also heads the Intellectual Warfare Center, a body affiliated with the Saudi Defense Ministry, dedicated to combating extremist and terrorist ideology. His groundbreaking interfaith efforts include his trip to Auschwitz, which was done in January 2020 for the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the death camp. That's, I believe, what we just saw there. The Auschwitz Museum declared it the most senior Islamic delegation ever to visit. He's been recognized by the American Jewish Committee, the American Sephardi Federation, and the Combat Anti-Semitism movement for his leadership and initiatives to combat anti-Semitism. In 2019, Dr. Al-Issa led representatives of the Abrahamic religions in France in signing an agreement for peace and solidarity, and held a conference on reconciliation in Sri Lanka to heal interreligious divides created by the terrible Easter terrorist attacks. He also met with the Pope in 2017 to forge a first-of-its-kind agreement between MWL, the Muslim World League, and the Vatican. The American Jewish Committee has described Dr. Al-Issa as the most powerful voice in the Muslim world promoting moderate Islam. President of the Mormon community said, "You are a peacemaker, a bridge builder, and we need more leaders like you." President Ari Berman of Yeshiva University hailed Dr. Al-Issa's efforts to rebuild the historic relationship between Muslim and Jews through engaging and educating the next generation of leaders. Really amazing. And here he is over here, just a picture of him, Dr. Al-Issa, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa. Look, at a basic, objective, sane level, there should be no reason why there shouldn't be good, healthy, normal relations between Muslims and Jews. It shouldn't be a surprising sight to us to see any human being, any group, any faith coming to Auschwitz to pay tribute to the martyrs, the people whose lives were were signed away simply because of their blood and their faith. And nevertheless, it is a surprise to us. It is unusual when we see things like this. But it shouldn't be this way. In a normal, sane world, there should be nothing unusual about this. It's unusual that we don't get on. It's unusual that we don't have sanctity of all human life treated the same across the board for Jew or Gentile. And this is nonetheless, because we live in a world that is a bit broken, this is something that should be welcome. And I'll tell you something, it looks like the Saudi-Israel peace deal, which there's much speculation about, it looks like it will happen. That's the way things are heading. It's going to happen. That's what the Saudis are showing they want. And it is so significant. And yes, some of it may be to do with personal interest. Maybe a lot of it's to do with personal interest. But you know what? As Pirkei Avot says in Ethics of the Fathers, lo lishma bo lishma. If you do things maybe not for the best, the highest reasons, sometimes if you're still doing it and it's a good thing, eventually you'll come to do it for the right reasons. And even if people who have animosity towards each other, if they're brought together through reasons that are somewhat selfish, in the end, they're still brought together. And that bringing together, that exposing to each other, the demystifying of one another is surely the root of paving the way towards reconciliation. I think so much of anti-Semitism thrives on the Jews being a mystery. And that's why so much of JTV and what we do, our aim is to demystify Judaism, the Jewish people, and Israel's story to the world. Demystify, demystify, demystify. Don't just fight the hate. Don't just fight anti-Semitism. Spread pro-Semitism. Expose, discuss, share, inspire. That's the way forward towards peace and reconciliation. And you know what? Normality. Because that's what this is ultimately about. Moving towards a sane, normal, wholesome world.
Thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.